Welcome to Burkina Faso, a land of unique traditions, unusual laws, and fascinating taboos unlike anywhere else. Have you ever heard of a country where crocodiles get funerals, or where honking your horn after 9 p.m. could land you in serious trouble? Here, grooms pay their bride price in installments for life, creating lifelong financial bonds. Men must also legally choose between having just one wife or living in polygamy for the rest of their existence. Mobile markets balance precariously on vendors' heads as they weave through busy streets daily, showcasing incredible skill and balance. In some villages, people take sand baths instead of water baths to conserve and save precious water resources. These unusual practices reveal deeper cultural values and environmental awareness that define daily life throughout the nation. Today, we're diving into 15 shocking facts and taboos you'll only find in Burkina Faso. This fascinating country challenges everything you think you know about traditions, laws, and human behavior. Let's begin this journey of discovery. Number 15. One wife for life or many. Here's the script rewritten and rearranged with the same word length. If your country had this system, what would you choose? One wife forever or the option for more? In Burkina Faso, marriage comes with a big decision that's legally binding forever. When a man marries for the first time, he must declare whether he chooses monogamy or polygamy immediately. Once declared, there's absolutely no turning back whatsoever. If he chooses monogamy, he can never take another wife, not even after divorce or the death of his spouse. If he chooses polygamy, he may marry more wives later, but only under strict conditions: financial stability, fairness among all wives, and the first wife's right to object if she feels neglected. Marriage registrars even have the power to reject a marriage if they suspect coercion, something many countries don't strictly enforce at all. This commitment from the start law remains very much alive today in Burkina Faso. Over 36% of families in Burkina Faso are currently living in polygamous households, demonstrating how deeply this practice is embedded in society. This system reflects cultural values about commitment, responsibility, and transparency in marital arrangements that differ significantly from Western traditions. Number 14. The village where people and crocodiles are best friends. These are not the fierce Nile crocodiles you might expect. They're desert crocodiles, smaller and far less aggressive than most. Raised in a community that feeds them, calls them by name, and never harms them, they've grown unusually tame over generations. Just 18 miles west of Ouagadougou lies Bazoulet, a village that feels like a real-life fairy tale. Here, over 100 of these crocodiles live peacefully in a central pond. No fences, no guards, and remarkably, no attacks for more than 70 years. The story dates back to the 14th century, when a devastating drought struck the entire region. According to legend, local women followed crocodiles and discovered a hidden pond that ultimately saved the village from disaster. From that sacred day forward, crocodiles became revered, believed to be reincarnated ancestors and protectors of the community. Every year, the villagers celebrate the Ko-Lakre festival, offering food to the crocodiles and praying earnestly for good harvests. Some elders even claim to predict the future by carefully listening to crocodile calls and interpreting their meanings. This extraordinary relationship between humans and wildlife demonstrates coexistence unlike anywhere else. Number 13. The noble village built from cow dung. Welcome to Tiabalé, a small village just 12 miles north of the Ghana border, where cow dung isn't waste, it's the foundation of stunning royal mansions. Home to around 450 people, Tiabalé is inhabited by the Kasena, an ethnic group that has lived here since the 15th century. Their houses, called sukala, are made from a mix of mud, straw, and cow dung, then hand-painted with intricate black, red, and white designs. These patterns are more than decoration, they are prayers on walls. Crocodiles and snakes represent power and protection. The moon, stars, and mythical creatures symbolize harvests, wisdom, and rebirth. Each year after harvest season in February or March, about 15 women are chosen to repaint the walls using natural pigments: charcoal for black, red earth for red, and limestone chalk for white. To protect the art, they brush on a special oil made from local beans, helping the designs last for years. Tiabale isn't just a village, it's a royal compound. Roundhouses are for singles, octagonal ones for elders, and rectangular homes for couples. Doors are small, windows almost non-existent, shielding the interiors from the burning sun and potential intruders. Inside, you'll find simple clay furniture and neatly arranged household items. Number 12. The left hand taboo. Remember, the right hand is always the right choice in Burkina Faso. If you're left-handed, life here might be quite challenging indeed. The left hand isn't just less preferred, it's considered unclean and disrespectful in all social settings throughout the country. Among the Mosi, Gurunsi, and BWA ethnic groups, deeply rooted beliefs persist strongly. The left hand is firmly linked to personal hygiene practices and bad deeds. The right hand, on the other hand, represents honor, respect, and cultural purity in all interactions with others. Giving money, food, or even a handshake with your left hand can instantly offend someone, especially elders and respected village chiefs. This practice isn't taken lightly at all. A survey by the Ouagadougou Institute of Anthropology discovered that over 90% of Burkinabe citizens feel directly insulted if handed something with their left hand. The consequences begin early in childhood development. Even children naturally born left-handed are trained from a very young age to use their right hand exclusively for greetings, eating, and giving or receiving items. In the past, schools would even physically tie a child's left hand behind their back while writing or eating, forcing complete adaptation to strict cultural etiquette requirements. Understanding these traditions is essential for respectful engagement. Number 11. Frequent power and internet shortages. If you think a 15-minute blackout is frustrating, imagine living in a place where having electricity at all is considered a luxury. In Burkina Faso, only 56% of urban residents have regular access to power, and in rural areas, that number plummets to just 1%. That means over 17 million people, nearly the entire rural population, spend their nights in darkness. No lights, no TV, no Wi-Fi, and no way to charge a phone. The country has one of the lowest electrification rates in the world, relying heavily on imported power from Ivory Coast and Ghana. Outages lasting 2 to 12 hours happen 3 to 5 times a week. Internet access is even more limited. In many villages, it's virtually non-existent. Even in the capital, Ouagadougou, Wi-Fi is slow, costly, and averages just 2 to 5 megabits per second, barely enough to stream a video or hold a video call. Number 10. Africa's biggest film festival. When most people imagine Burkina Faso, they think of farmland and dry landscapes, not red carpets and movie premieres. But Ouagadougou, the capital, is the beating heart of African cinema. Since 1969, it has hosted FESPAC, the Pan-African Film and Television Festival of Ouagadougou, the largest film festival in Africa. Every 2 years, it brings together filmmakers, producers, actors, journalists, and cinema lovers from all 54 African countries and beyond. The event now draws more than 100,000 attendees, screening over 200 films across theaters and outdoor venues throughout the city. From dramas and documentaries to animations and experimental shorts, it's a celebration of African storytelling in all its forms. The festival's top prize, the Étalon d'Or de Yenenga, or Golden Stallion of Yenenga, is considered Africa's version of the Oscar. It's named after Princess Yenenga, a legendary warrior and founding mother of the Masi people, who make up over half of Burkina Faso's population. Number 9. Don't touch someone's hair in Burkina Faso. Hair is far more than a style. It's considered the home of the soul. Among the Masi and Gurunsi people, hair acts as a spiritual antenna, connecting a person to their ancestors. Women here take great pride in elaborate hairstyles, often spending 4 to 6 hours braiding patterns that reveal age, marital status, and even social standing. Some women only braid their hair during a new moon, believing it brings good fortune and strengthens ancestral bonds. Because of this deep cultural meaning, touching someone's head, especially a woman's or a child's, is seen as a serious violation of personal space. Even friendly gestures, like ruffling a child's hair or admiring a braid, can be considered deeply disrespectful. Number 8. Bathing without water. Anthropologists have documented sand bathing in several semi-desert communities across the Sahel region. Locals there believe that placing hot sand on the stomach can aid digestion and promote overall health and wellness significantly. In the dry Sahel region of Burkina Faso, where temperatures often soar above 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Celsius, water is as precious as gold. When water is scarce or critically needed for cooking and farming, people have developed a unique hygiene tradition, sand bathing. Some even bury themselves completely in heated sand to relax muscles, ease aches, and warm up on cool desert nights, a practice remarkably similar to luxury sand spas found in resorts. But here it's entirely traditional and completely free, accessible to everyone. The actual process works much like an exfoliating scrub treatment. They pour hot, sun-warmed sand over their bodies, rubbing it thoroughly into the skin to remove sweat, dirt, and dead cells effectively. This method gives a soothing, massage-like effect that rejuvenates and cleanses simultaneously. Sandbathing represents both practical necessity and cultural wisdom, demonstrating how communities adapt ingeniously to their harsh desert environments while maintaining health and cleanliness traditions. Number 7. The least urbanized society in Africa. While much of Africa is racing toward urbanization, with cities expanding, skyscrapers rising, and metros under construction, Burkina Faso moves at a slower, almost timeless pace. Here, nearly 80% of the population, about 17 million people, live in rural areas, relying on subsistence farming. They farm not to sell, but to survive. Each harvest is measured in meals for the year, not market profits. Families grow enough corn, millet, or sorghum to eat, raise a few goats or chickens, and bring any surplus to the village market to trade for salt, oil, or soap. But this simple life faces constant challenges: poor soil from drought, advancing desertification, and swarms of locusts that can destroy a season's work in a single day. Economic pressures add to the struggle. For example, U.S. cotton subsidies drive down global prices, making it nearly impossible for Burkina Faso's cotton farmers to earn a fair living. Number 6. No honking after 9 p.m. In Burkina Faso, nighttime silence isn't just a preference, it's the law. In the capital, Ouagadougou, and traditional towns like Bobo-Dioulasso, honking your car horn after 9 p.m. can get you fined, sometimes up to $250. This rule is deeply rooted in Masi cultural beliefs. Nighttime is when ancestors are thought to pass through villages, and loud, sudden noises are believed to disturb their presence. A late-night honk could startle an elder, wake a child, or, as tradition holds, disrupt the balance between the living and the spiritual world. Some villages even have night patrols whose job is to maintain the peace after dark. The quiet runs so deep that over 150 radio stations across the country shut down after 10 p.m., leaving only the sounds of insects, distant drums, and the wind through the millet fields. In Burkina Faso, the night belongs to the ancestors, and silence is sacred. Number 5. The indigenous aliens of West Africa. On the dramatic cliffs of the Bandiagara Plateau, where homes cling to the rock face and narrow paths wind through ancient terrain, lives the Dogon people, a community whose traditions stretch back thousands of years. Their mud brick cliff dwellings are remarkable, but what has astonished the world is their advanced astronomical knowledge. Long before telescopes were invented, the Dogon knew that Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky, is not a single star, but part of a binary, possibly even a triple star system. They spoke of Sirius B, an invisible companion star that orbits Sirius A every 50 years, a fact NASA only confirmed in the 1970s using modern technology. Even more mysteriously, they described the size, weight, and elliptical path of this white dwarf star with uncanny accuracy. The Dogon say this knowledge was given to their ancestors by the Nomo, amphibious, fish-like beings who came to Earth from Sirius in a spiral-shaped ship. Number 4. Installment plan weddings. In many countries, installment payments are for houses, cars, or phones, but in Burkina Faso, they can also apply to marriage. Among the Mossi and Gurunsi people, a wedding and the bride price aren't settled all at once. Instead, the groom begins with a symbolic deposit, perhaps a chicken, a bundle of millet, corn liquor, or a stack of firewood given to the bride's family. The rest is paid in annual installments, usually after each harvest. Year after year, the groom delivers rice, peanuts, goats, or whatever he can afford to his in-laws. There are no official receipts or contracts. The payments are a living reminder. I remember my commitment, and I still care for your daughter. Elders say this system strengthens bonds between families. In-law relationships don't end with the wedding, they continue to grow. And if trouble arises in the marriage, the bride's parents can claim the bride price isn't fully paid and either mediate or bring their daughter home. Number 3. Mobile markets on heads in Burkina Faso. You don't go to the market comes to you. No pickup trucks, no delivery apps, no neon-lit 24-hour stores. Here, an entire shop fits neatly into a single basket, expertly balanced on the head of a street vendor. These walking supermarkets weave through villages, fields, and dusty crossroads like moving works of art. Inside those baskets, a miniature world, sweet fruits, buckets of dried fish, sizzling meat skewers, even tea stalls complete with a charcoal kettle. And every step is guided with a subtle tilt of the head, as natural as breathing. But it's not just the goods, it's the performance. Vendors don't rely on flashy signs or loudspeakers, their voices carry the charm. Oranges as sweet as first love, one might sing. Or, buy these mangoes, sister, and your skin will glow. Some vendors dance, others mimic children's voices, all to make you smile. Number 2. Music in the nation's veins today. Burkina Faso's 150-plus radio stations still play traditional tunes, folktales, and even farming tips sung as melodies. Across more than 60 ethnic groups, music binds the nation together profoundly. The balafon, kora, and noni aren't museum pieces. They're living voices at weddings, funerals, coming-of-age rituals, and every gathering in between. Griots, the oral historians, are so deeply respected they're tax-exempt, seated at the place of honor during all ceremonies. And tradition runs exceptionally deep. A single wrong drumbeat at a wedding can stop the celebration in its tracks completely. Under revolutionary leader Thomas Sankara, folk songs even became a powerful tool for political change, spreading important ideas to people who could not read but could listen intently. Picture a dawn in a red earth village where the air is still. No car horns, no electronics, only the deep wooden tones of the balafon, a traditional xylophone, drifting gently between thatched roofs. Children beat djembes with tiny hands, learning rhythm before they can even write their own names. Here, music isn't merely a hobby, it's a birthright passed down through generations. This cultural foundation shapes Burkina Faso's identity. Number 1. You can't name your child however you want. In some tribes of Burkina Faso, there are strict rules about naming children that must be followed carefully. No naming a child after someone who's just died, and no overly ambitious names, which are believed to invite jealousy or serious misfortune to the baby. Naming a child isn't just a parent's decision, it's a sacred tradition belonging to paternal grandparents, clan elders, or even a shaman among the Mossi, Bwali, and Guruni people. In ancient rituals, a shaman may perform a soul-calling ceremony, reaching into the spirit world to discover the child's true name and destiny. Here, a name isn't just a word. It reveals the child's character, role in society, and even their future prospects entirely. Some tribes even name children based on the day of the week they were born. For example, Pokar might mean born on Wednesday, carrying symbolic meaning. If a baby is born right after the death of a family member, they might be named Kusubet, meaning the one who replaces the lost soul. Born during harvest? The name might be Sorgo, symbolizing ripe grain and prosperity for the family. These naming practices connect spirituality, destiny, and cultural identity profoundly.